It's time to get going, gotta catch those runners taking off like a Boeing. If the volume spikes, then it's time to trade. Mighty 90 setting up, it's time to get paid. Navigation trading on the mic, time to get focused. We don't need any indicator, hocus pocus. It's all about the price, just watch it move. Manage your risks so you don't lose. First hour of trading is all we need. Focus on the patience and forget about greed.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's day trading live stream for Tuesday, May 19th. Futures are lower this morning. S&P down 43, NASDAQ down 285, Russell down 25, and the Dow's down 224. NASDAQ is the weakest, down a full percent. Gold down 1%, silver down 4%. Notes and bonds are red, 10-year yield up almost 1%. Oil is flat. Natural gas is up 1.3%. Grains have been on the move, but pretty flat this morning. Soybeans and wheat a little bit green, corn a little bit red. Euro and the pound are slightly red, and Bitcoin down about 0.5%. A little bit of a sell-off here the last 15 minutes of VIX popping up into positive territory, up almost 1% now. 17.98 at the freeze. So I will be entering a 1 DTE iron Condor at the open. And then as far as DC time machines, on my radar today is the 910. Really, 910 and the 1013 are the two that I'll be really focused on. 2, 3, and 3 7s are fine as well if you're okay with a little bit shorter duration. Home Depot had earnings. I did an earnings calendar. It's down 2.3%, so it'll be within the expected move. One thing I was looking at with Home Depot on the post-earnings statistics is, so it's gapping down within within the expected move. It's done that 6 times out of the last 20, and every single time it's gapped down within its expected move, it's actually gone up. So it's never continued lower to the end of the day. It's actually on average 1.7% drift higher, which would bode well for my current position. There is the bell. Looks like an expected range in SPX today of almost 44 points. So my 1 DTE iron Condor should fire here shortly. Number 154, I held half overnight. That's the May 29, June 1. Looks like it's pretty close to where I closed half yesterday, so no movement there yet. I'm going to go ahead and model out a 910 DTE to have that ready to go. So my 1 DTE just fired. All right, so just got that posted in the Transformer Trade channel. All right, as far as individual stocks go, looks like Tesla is weak, Google weak, Amazon weak, Apple is strong. Microsoft started strong, but it's retreating. Nvidia is bouncing, trying to go green. VIX holding above 18. Microsoft pulling back to previous day high. A lot of the chip stocks are bouncing. MU pushing up to pre-market high. S&DK just went green. AMD trying to go green. S&P following through pre-market lows. NASDAQ acting strong, S&P a little bit weaker. Russell weaker. I'm going to go ahead and enter a 910 here. got that posted. Getting a pretty decent bounce here. NVIDIA, really the chip stocks carrying the market higher right now. Microsoft still rejecting. Circle is pumping. It started off red. Now it's up 2%. NVIDIA pushed above pre-market high and into the green, but now it's rejecting back into the red. MU, AMD, SNDK kind of showing the most relative strength, along with Apple. NVIDIA does have earnings after the bell Wednesday. So if you're trying to trade that, the premiums are going to be pretty juiced. So we got MU and AMD pulling back to pre-market highs. I'm going to look at AMD. I would trade the 3-day options, and I would trade let's go with the 430s. They're pretty pricey as well. Big dip in the indices. Big dip in the chips. Apple, no dip. Watching AMD here still. If it holds this pre-market high, PLTR had that nice push, and it's rejecting back below previous day high. S&P through lows, Russell through lows. Still continued weakness. Microsoft's trying to hold that previous day high. I'm going to load up some Microsoft calls here. Microsoft 1 DTE, I would trade the 427.5s. I'm going to take Microsoft. Nice reaction off of previous day high. I got filled at 380 on those. First profit target at 450. AMD still coming down. Abosh, can you hear me? A big pullback in the chips. Tesla going through lows. Nvidia staying red. Bitcoin's a little bit red, but MSTR had a pretty decent bounce. Then a pullback back into the red. IWM still putting in new lows. S&P new lows. NASDAQ has not quite reached its lows yet, but coming down hard. Netflix and Microsoft bouncing off previous day high. Apple still staying strong. I'm going to bring my Microsoft order down a little bit to 440 for my first profit target. It's at 435. Filled 440. Nice bounce. S&P, NASDAQ trying to bounce now. So part of the context for Microsoft, if you look at the daily chart, when I'm doing my pre-market stuff, I'm looking at typically the hourly and the daily chart to get some little higher time frame context. And so Microsoft had that. Well, it's been strong the last few days, first of all. And we had that gap up today. And really it just kind of came down and tested that previous day high a couple times, reacted off that. So that was part of the context of getting in, not just looking at the 5-minute chart. S&P held at previous day low. Nice bounce in Microsoft. Next profit target at 540. Nice bounce in Netflix off previous day high as well. Anybody in Microsoft with me? Nobody? No softies? No softie takers? Apple still grinding higher. Meta big bounce. Microsoft filled 540. My Home Depot earnings trade's up a little bit now. Not a whole lot of profit coming into that thing now. Yet. Where's Hondo at? Hondo's usually riding with me. Hondo, no Microsoft for you? General Zod? General's not here today. Bobby's in. All right. Bobby likes money. V-Ready's in. Okay. Now they're coming out of the woodwork. Hondo hates money today. It's all right. It's all right, Hondo. Google is just bleeding lower still. No bounce. Let's get a new high a day, softy. Got 3 lots left. put another target right below highs of day at 670. Hey, I like that you have a plan, Hondo. I like it. Meta had a big pop, tried to go green, but got shut back down. Tesla staying weak. Amazon, little baby bounce. A lot of the chips still weak. AMD gave it all up. MU is chopping around unchanged. PLTR is trying to reclaim previous day high here. That one could be interesting to the upside. PLTR would be the 3-day options. I would do the 138 calls. If I take it. I'll keep an eye on PLTR. Apple pulling back. All right, seeing a little pullback come in. A little pullback in Microsoft. Still watching PLTR, 138 calls. If it wants to reclaim previous day high here. You've also got this pre-market high in PLTR. created a lot of touch points. Watching PLTR. I'm going to take PLTR. So 138 calls. I got filled at 220. AMD falling apart. SMH down to previous day low. Microsoft still kind of chopping around that pre-market high. PLTR didn't have that momentum higher after it broke back above previous day high like I wanted, but still sitting there. Tesla still falling. Apple still pulling back. Meta had a nice push, holding above previous day close. Google finally bouncing. Tesla down over 3% now. PLTR just chopping. Indices dipping, Russell through lows. Microsoft is still pulling back, but Nothing too bad yet. PLTR hanging in nicely with all this weakness. Meta's holding up well too. And trying to reclaim that pre-market high, Meta is. Microsoft getting a little dippy now. I've hit 2 profit targets, so I've only got 3 contracts left in Microsoft, so I'm going to give it a little bit of room, but I don't want to give up too much here. PLTR starting to creep higher. I'll put a first profit target on PLTR at 245. If it gets another little push. Well, now PLTR rejecting back down. Got pretty close to that profit target, but not quite there. Chip stocks continuing to fall, driving this market lower. NASDAQ through lows, Russell through lows. Yeah, Dark Avenger. I got to the point I just had way too many issues with Tradier. Like I just don't trust them. I just don't think they're a good company, and I just didn't like the idea of having my money with them. Everything from fill prices to, they're supposed to be this API company, built on their API of, platforms using their API sucks. Just just one thing after another. I did, and I was dealing with the owner on some of this stuff, and things just would not get fixed. So I just finally had to bail. All right, it's a pretty healthy pullback in Microsoft now. I got to think about bailing on my remaining runners if we don't bounce. And PLTR's got to hold this pre-market high, otherwise it'll get cut. definitely not dipping as much as a lot of things. So I'm going to see if it holds this pre-market high level. S&P flushed lows, back below previous day low. Same with the NASDAQ. Russell's still the weakest, almost 2% lower. Microsoft acting like it may want to start bouncing. Meta's giving it up, back in the red. Tesla through lows, Nvidia through lows. A lot of the chips through lows. Yeah, I just don't. I think they're a really poorly run company. Which I hate to say. Like when when Schwab bought TDA, and there's a lot of issues or uncertainty and things around that. Like Trader had such an opportunity to come in and take that market share. Like they were positioned well, but they've never been able to get it together. Like they just continue to make decisions that just make me shake my head. I don't get it. I mean, I'm sure they have their reasons that I don't know about, but then a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors, a lot of it's just not something I want to be involved with. All right, PLTR still holding. Microsoft still kind of acting like it's ready to bounce. Indices starting to bounce. Be back in 1 minute. Amazon just broke new lows. Apple still pulling back. Tesla finally starting to try to bounce. What do you know? Option Omega in their Discord posting traders having issues with authentication, blah, 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 blah. AMD still pushing new lows, MU pushing new lows, Intel. These chips are not having a day. All right, Microsoft still coming down here. Gave up too much in Microsoft. Nvidia through lows. All right, I'm going to cut my remaining Microsoft. Filled at 338. All right, so PLTR need to bounce here, otherwise it's going to get cut. S&P still at lows, NASDAQ. Indices and chips still moving lower. PLTR, a little bit of a bounce. Microsoft bouncing off previous day high again. Maybe just needed to go back down there to previous day high and give you a little retest. Give Hondo a chance at an entry. And PLTR, I mean, it had a little 10-minute pullback, but nothing close to these chips or the indices. So if these things can find a little bit of a base, bottom, PLTR might have a chance to still run. If this continues to get ugly to the downside, though, I don't think it's going to be able to hold. Netflix is still holding. Netflix still at highs of day. All right, starting to see a little tiny sign of bouncing. I like the way PLTR is reacting here.
Order filled. Order partially filled. Order filled.
Yeah, AMD's falling like a rock. So is MU, along with a lot of the chips. All right, PLTR dipping again. I mean, it's just kind of a chop fest here. You know, when I got in, it had that initial push higher, then that pullback. It looked like it had some momentum to bust through previous day high, which is where I got in, but it's just become chop, which chop is better than this flush we're seeing and everything else, but we'll see. About to cut if it doesn't bounce here. All right, I'm out. I'm out. Filled at $1.71 on that exit. Ooh, bad fill too because it bounced right after I got filled. All right, I'm going to wrap the stream here. If I see anything else interesting, I will post in the trade channels. Otherwise, we'll see everyone in Power Hour. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.